Okay, while I'm waiting for a number of viewers to show up, I'm going to fix this. Because why not automatically restart this thing? Whenever it sends this, whenever I read this from, apparently, stand it out. I think I need something that reads standard in and then filters on that string, and if the string is received, executes a command continuously. That's something like, I should be able to do that with a grep, no? My echo closes the file descriptor. I wanted to keep it open. Let's try it like this. I'm writing it to some file. I'm doing till -f troop. That writes it and keeps it open. Write that to grabbing it. And then we need, this doesn't return, that doesn't work. Is there not an option to stop grab as soon as you have one hit? I think there is. Count, color, L, files without match, files with matches. I guess -L should work. Or max count, stop reading a file after non-matches. That would work. -M1. Only matching, only print a match. No, quite saw no message. Let's try -M1. No. What about, I think it's not even writing it. Yeah, see. I do have a new line. Maybe we can try it again with a new line at the end. Yes, that works. Can also do audio voice called stuck. And then we can do echo, okay. We can do end. And then I can do kill all M player. What would happen if I kill this M player? It's hardly restarting it. But actually it is. I think at least we will return. So you can do this. Now what? Oh, there's another one here. Yeah. So I'm missing closing brace. Okay, Vindirect says, hey, have you heard of Sexy App Framework? No, never heard of that. Okay, let's begin with investigating my new to-do. I suppose everyone read the description below the video, starting with another interruption. So the idea is that we have descriptor sets, like descriptor sets here. Let's call this a descriptor set. And then we have binding numbers. Binding number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Enough. 4 is enough. And I thought, well, let's give the descriptors a name. For example, I could call this one A, and this one B, and this one C, and this one D. And then I could have a different descriptor set. Let's call this a descriptor set S. And this is descriptor set R. And this one contains different things. So let's say this is B. And here we have C, and here we have E. And here we have F, and different things, but sometimes something that already exists. So now set R, all these things you also have a number, so let's call this one 0 and this one 1. And often you see validation errors and they just put the set first. For example, 0.0 is set 0 binding 0, so that's A. And 0.2 equals C, and 1.1 is also C. And then I thought, if I update C to point to something else, I mean descriptor like C could contain the handle, some handle to some image with kittens. And I thought, well, if I change C to an image with the beetles, then both the descriptor sets are changed. But nope, that's not how it works, apparently. There is no C. There's literally no C. What happens is that you update the descriptor set and the binding. That's what you do. This is a descriptor. It's just right here. So it's per definition they're all different. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and so on. In other words, I might as well give them a different name, namely I call this one 0.0 and this one 0.1 and this one 0.2 and this one 0.3. That's now the name of my descriptor. 1.1 applies 1.2 and 1.3. The size can be different, of course. Let's make this one 3. So now 0.0 is, well, 0.0. And this is 0.2 and this is 1.1. And C, I don't know where C was, but I think it was before 0.2 and 1.1. We can start like this. You can start like this, and then, you know, they both contain the same handles, and therefore they draw the same image. But then I can just change one of them. Moreover, actually, textures can be arrays of textures. So it does not just point to a single image, it points to an array with images. And even the size of those arrays can be different. Okay, I'm out of ideas. So this one could contain a handle pointing to an array with I'll actually just point to an array with descriptors which contain then the handles of whatever you want. Now if this array exists and this array exists, then I'm not sure we cannot swap the whole array at once. But I don't think you can. It's like literally still unique for each element here has to be changed separately. So I can invent a new notation. If this is a texture, sorry, an array, texture array, then well, dot 0. And 0.2.1 is image of the house. 0.2.2 image is flowers. And each of these things can be separately updated, and only separately updated. But there is a descriptor involved at this point here that defines the maximum index. So this is linked to the size of the array. I'll write that link to size of array through the layout or so. And I suppose it makes it makes an allocation of that size somewhere, and then you cannot use larger than 2 if the size is 3, and so on. But okay, this defines the size, so we know that we have 0, 1 and 2, and let's say this one has a size of 2, so we have 0 and 1. And I can change each of the images separately. Which is all nice and dandy, but do I want that? What if at some point I just want to swap, you know, at a whole different level? I don't want to just change one image. I want to change one image and then have an effect on a lot of stuff. But okay, sometimes I might want to do that, and other times I do not want to do that. This is really confusing. But yeah, the set is picked by my engine, and so is the binding. Yet, before this was C, 02 was C. Oh yeah, the C here. This used to be a C, and say 11 was a C, and that's how I added it. And the C in my current code represents a single object, and that single object really is now only uniquely defined by the fact that. Apart that from that it is an object that the user has, a variable of its a variable of its window class, defined by the GLSL ID string, for example, texture C. So I can use this in a shader, texture C. And then how is that linked to my C? It's a link to the 02. Any shader using texture C is linked to that object, at least initially. Let me think how that works. Kind of pissed off. And I still thought that the descriptor C just really existed. It was logical to call this texture C. But now suddenly it's not the same thing. I can separately change it afterwards or whatever. They would say, well, just don't do that, update them all at the same time. But there is a good reason not to do that, I think. It might just mean it's just limiting, and it might be annoying, an annoying limit in the end. So it's better to redesign my my interface. Okay, so how does it come to be that there is an association with texture C for two different descriptor sets and different bindings in the first place. And then a single shader will reference whatever I supplied here through a single descriptor and a single binding. So this is what one shader sees. So the only way to get it linked to two different descriptor sets, well, you'll never see it in the same descriptor set having two different bindings. Only one of them, of course, is going to be linked to that particular thing. So it's always going to be a different descriptor set, and then which, yeah, it's kind of random which binding it's assigned to. It could also be two, but it doesn't matter. That this 2 belongs to this set and this 2 belongs to that set. So now it's more important to see that the texture C itself belongs to descriptor set 0, but also to descriptor set 1. And the only way that can happen is when I linked my detector C to two different pipelines, because this must be different shaders initially. Or not. No. Well, different shade, yeah. No, I'm saying something. I started my story with using the same shader. Yeah, okay. That's... It is also confusing. Damn it. Why is it so confusing? I think I need a hard example. I have some code that actually puts them in two different descriptor sets. If I can make that, then I'll understand better what's going on, maybe. But my program is broken the way it is now. It doesn't even run. Oh, it compiles, it runs. Actually, it does run. It just doesn't draw anything. Maybe you can still work with that. So, yeah, let's see if... So at the moment I'm doing this, and this being part of a pipeline characteristic, which is being used for two different pipelines. definitely, even different pipeline factories. Two different threads come here. There's a nice race there. So the whole loop is executed twice. And that means we have a combined image sampler. I have 2 of those. This is 2. Which I'm adding to different, yeah, let's call it pipelines at the moment. Nope, not working. So that was not executed. Audio device got stuck. That is so strange. Oh, it's printing it. That never got there. What? Printing it to standard error. Try 2. Just gonna redirect. Let's do it like this. Is this here? I don't think that worked. Yeah, but now I lost one. Let's see what that is. Till it gets stuck. Okay, let's see. I can. I thought I have a M pipeline here. there, and pipeline. So we can use that here. And this function takes 2 vectors. So I can probably force them to be arranged in a certain way. Oh. I can't find an example of that. Yeah, I need the key of something to make the set key preference. Or the top buffer is just a shader resource. I guess this is my shader resource. So you could make an array of set key preferences. Hello Adam and Hamno. So I have a vector of set key preferences, and then I run over the number of combined image samplers, and then for each I get the key, and I construct together with that I insist 1.0 means 100%, so I'm sure about it. And we construct that, construct the set key preference, and I put it back in the. And then here I can use that by passing my preferences. Which then depends on the, let's see, I have, so it is preferred and undesirable. So the first one, yeah, I only have 2 textures at the moment. I would need at least 3 textures. What I also have I have 2 combined image samplers, and I'm always going to use there are arrays actually. So I should have 3 combined image samplers here, I think, in order to make this test work. I'll be right back. Yeah, I figured it out. I did figure it out. It's the advantage of programming. You don't need a computer. You can just take a bathroom break and continue programming. What I need is indeed 3 combined image samplers. But where are we? Top, bottom. Yeah, okay. Let's call that bottom 1 and bottom 2 then. Ridiculous. Bottom 0 and bottom 1. And I need 2 different shaders, unfortunately. But in order to test this in this incomplete state, so I'm having top and bottom, and currently I'm using those as an array, but we're gonna get rid of the array. It's not working yet. So I'm going to have, say, frag 0, and I copy this whole thing. And frag 1. And then this one is going to use top, just a single thing. This one also. And this one uses bottom 0, and this one uses bottom 1. And then I need to add support for using different fragment channels. Info. Register shaders. Okay, that cannot work, of course. We can only have one fragment shader. That should just be 0. It's one or the other. That depends on the pipeline. So something pipeline, I don't know. How do I know what a pipeline is here? Is it window? Yep, pipeline. Pipeline equals 0, we use frag 0, and for the other pipeline we use frag 1. So now we have a different fragment shader for each of the pipelines, right? Apparently we need to do that again here. Okay, where was the other? Where was the first place that I was editing stuff? Fucking memory. Only thing I could remember. Key. But I found it back. This loop is not correct. Yeah, it's running over a number of combined image samplers, but not the total number. It's more like the number of combined image sampler for that given shader. In this case, that is just 2. And then Let's do it full-fledged. I have an int const number of combined image samplers per pipeline is 2. Yeah, just work with indices and the number, it's just a number also. Then just in the index, the actual combined image sample. The first one is always 0, and the second one is 1 plus in pipeline. So for pipeline 0 we use 0 and 1, and for pipeline 1 we use 0 and 2. I do not even understand that joke. I don't see the humor in it. So I guess I don't understand it. Go. Also have to tell it that I want to not sure. I think I just want to put them always together, so just preferred. And this T must be replaced with that. where T is not really texture anymore at all. That would be confusing. Let me just choose I. And then we'll pass a vector with the other one, I guess. So I want to combine them. I don't know. Combine them with the other one. That would be 1 minus I guess. I do, yeah. I think. So let's try to compile it. CombinedImageSampler does not have a descriptor set key. This is the resource. Yeah. It must be a descriptor. Hmm. Yeah, whatever I did, it compiled. But what did I do? No, not seriously. What? How can I check if it's doing what I wanted? Yeah, I guess. I guess. Create textures. I guess I need 3 textures. Strange that this compiled. Number of combined image samplers is 3, and I just give 2 strings. And it compiled. Alright, and this I'm going to change to 1, or rather comment it out. Yep, now it works. That is, doesn't crash. Yep, well, okay-ish. I have bottom 0 here. Okay, so shader resource bottom 0 has set index 0 and binding 1. And we're being called with binding 1 for this descriptor set. So highlight it. See that also back here, update descriptor set. Maybe I should look for this one instead. Again for the top. Yep, there is the first call. This is the second call with the same set, but now binding 0. Can we find back what that's top? So apparently top and bottom 0 go into the same descriptor set now. Top at binding 0 and bottom 0 at binding 1. And then the next call to this function is a different descriptor set, because it's not highlighted. Binding 0, and this is bottom 1. So bottom 1 at binding 0, and then the same descriptor set that is the same as this one. And top goes to binding 0. And that is indeed what I wanted. Isn't it amazing? And what was that? jump to the top. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 calls again. And we have 2 different descriptor sets. And top goes to both descriptor sets. That was the test that I wanted to do. And now the big question is then, is top now, you know, just top and you cannot make 2 different things out of it? Or can we make 2 different things out of it? And we can make 2 different things out of it because it's stored in 2 different descriptor sets. So it's not really the same thing. It's called top, but it's not really the same thing. Depends on how you update it. So in theory, it could still show 4 different textures and not always have the same texture at the top. But this received comes in on top. I think it comes in on the shader resource, isn't it? No, it doesn't. It comes in on the task. Let's check where it exactly was coming in. Comes in on the CombinedImageSampler task. Well, that sure is related to my other CombinedImageSampler, which I'm not even sure stores its name, or do I have the name here? So that's this one. Oh yeah, base has the name, I think. Definitely. Base is a debug name, but it should also have a GLSL ID name. GLSL. What? Oh man. Now we see in GLSL ID. Where does it go to? It's passed to the constructor. I cannot find it back. It's passed to the base. So I wasn't completely insane. Oh, it's passed to the member. It's passed to the base as a debug name. I wanted to ignore that. Yeah, and here we make the full one by prepending CombinedImageSampler to it. Let's work with that. It's stored in member. Member is a unique pointer to the CombinedImageSampler shader resource member. That has it. No accessor. Gotta be kidding me. Oh, but we have a member? Nah, come on. I want to be able to access this. Or do I not? At least it's being printed. Print the member, and the member is being printed, I guess. Just one debug output anyway, I think. So if I print my combined image sampler here, then it should be printing the member as well, which then prints the GLSL ID full. Print on here. Yeah. The member, just printing the member. Let me think. I think I just need to do something like combined image sampler. This received. Now we have more info. So we have combined image sampler. Can you also get more information than you want? Here's the member, GLS ID full, bottom 0. Received, binding 1. Descriptor set Debug. And the top received for the same descriptor set binding 0. Bottom 1 and so on and so on. Okay, yeah, but now what to do with it? So the top represents here the what is this? I want to see the match of this brace here. It's a member, right? Member add, brace open, second brace open, third brace open, second brace open, first brace open. It's a member. So the member is the member was a unique pointer, yeah. So it's the member points to top. At least. And in both cases we get a different descriptor. And this one we get descriptor, that one, and here we get a different descriptor set. Yeah. Now it stopped. Because it wasn't killed, it just stopped. Seriously? That's like impossible, isn't it? Yeah, it worked. Audio device got stuck. Quit. So now I have to put the whole thing in a loop. Like while true. We'll just maybe home while true do. That seems more logical. Done. There. Automatic restart. Okay, I have to understand this now, right? See, this is an object, and that's where, well, it's the object is the object that contains this member, which gives us an insight in what the object is. I think I'm going to print at this pointer as well, because it's still not clear enough. In fact, it's a bit too much information. I think just a debug name will do for now. Debug name and this pointer might even be better. I don't want to print this. It's like I received that on, and I'm just printing this pointer, I think. And I'll maybe between brackets debug name. And I suppose I would call that debug name. But we'll never be sure until we look here. Debug name, debug name, debug name. No debug name. Wait, the debug name was part of the base, right? To the base, there, base, debug name. Yeah, debug name here. Should that work? Impossible. I changed something. Or not. Okay. Yep. So we have a descriptor set with binding 0 and 1. This is descriptor set. Or top and bottom. Oh yeah, that's it. The same information every time. But now we can also see that indeed that this pointer is the same here. And these are something else. So I can have this object called top store this descriptor set and then also store this descriptor set. So it just stores both descriptor sets and the binding numbers. So then I could say I want top to point to a different image. I can just call this object and say, hey, I want you to point to a different image. And then what it would do is change, update, I mean, this descriptor set and this descriptor set. So that would be all nice and dandy, and that was actually the way I was heading. But now I think that maybe I don't want it. I do not want to update everything. I might want to just update one of them. Just this descriptor set and not that descriptor set. Even though top is being the same. Why? Because top no longer represents a single descriptor. It's just a name. It's more linked to the unpreprocessed shader code that I have. And I feel that I might want to use the same shader code with the same unpreprocessed top name or whatever, some name for something that even has you know, not just different textures but even an array of a different size. Like one is a cube with 6 textures, and then maybe another one is a polygon with 20 surfaces, and I want to link an array to it with 20 textures, which are totally different. Then I want to update not top, I want to update the top on a given shader, or should I say pipeline, because yeah, the shader code is the same. So or could be the same. In this case they are different. And then the current problem here is that the information that I have does not even include the pipeline. And I could add, say, a pointer to the pipeline, but that wouldn't tell the user anything, because the whole pipeline creation is hidden from the user at the moment. Welcome back, Shotgun. I think by now YouTube's algorithm works like this. Hey, every time I recommend Shotgun to this stream, he joins it. He chats even, so he must really like it. I'm kind of curious what those people that talk Russian, or I don't know what it's. Every language looks like Russian when they use that kind of characters. What they are talking about. Especially this. Je kunt denken, ja, White House. That was what? Okay. The KGB is definitely watching my stream. I'm thirsty. When demo project, the demo is this, you know. That's my demo. Really, it's code, man. It's code. There will only be something graphical once I'm way more advanced in my not advanced. Yeah, when I have advanced a lot further with my engine, the graphics should become more impressive. But that's gonna take a long time. I'm just figuring out the textures at the moment. Maybe come back in half a year. Let me think. So I could make an interface where the user wants to say that specific pipeline must now be linked to this texture array. Then the user needs to know how many pipelines there are and what each pipeline really means, aka where it comes from, where it came from. And I guess that I could use the a pipeline characteristic. So we have a pipeline characteristic object. Let's see. Yeah, it is. I think it is. It has to be linked to pipeline characteristic. Okay, this class. And in this case, I'm having. Well, it is a task in the meantime, and I think that it's in initialize that I call these add combined image samplers always, right? Is it always initialize? I'm still so not supporting ranges, so I wouldn't know. If they will want to keep it totally flexible, then I guess it's not necessarily done in the initialize. So it might be a function of the range, but it's definitely done here inside a characteristic. So I could say I want to change the textures linked to the combined image sampler that I passed to add combined image sampler in that characteristic. And then even worse, I could pass a certain range value as well, or maybe even a range of range values. But now I'm making it very difficult then. Or I could say I want to apply it to all of them, maybe, but that would just be a for loop. So I might as well let the user do the for loop. So maybe I really have to be specific and just specify the characteristic itself. But then the characteristic object still needs to exist, and it might not. Might not, it just does not exist. I don't think it does exist anymore. As soon as we're done with generating the pipelines, this whole thing disappears. So what I also could do is have this thing return IDs, and then that the user keep the ID. And then later I can use the ID to update the descriptors. And then because I'm using that ID, then it's related to whatever the pipeline characteristic is here. Yeah, it would work. So that it's kind of like what I'm doing with the shader indices. Although these things are stored here locally in the... No, wait. Shader indices. This is in... Yeah. It's part of the window class. Shader indices are being stored. I'm calling register shaders here, and then I get indices back to refer to them later. And then in the pipeline characteristic, I'm accessing the shader indices in order to refer to a certain shader code. Yeah, so these indices are known before I even start the pipeline characteristic task, and I just use them. That's slightly different than when the pipeline characteristic task is generating them. What am I trying to find back? Shit. Oh, that. Yeah, this combined image samplers. Add combined image sampler. Yeah. Account 1. I don't understand what you're saying. You can't park here. Eh? What? I was just thinking that maybe I should let the user derive from combine the image sampler and then use that here. So I have a user class here derived from the. Yeah, already told you I don't understand what you say. You can't park your car. How do you park ears? Can you show me your project? In the description, it's a link to GitHub. You can download all the thousands of files to have a look at it. So this is a user class. Then I could make changes to it ish, except that it's const. It's a Vulkan engine, so it's to write games based using Vulkan or based on Vulkan. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything. It's just an engine. You can use it to write a game, if it is, once it is finished, but I'm still running it, so the moment you cannot use it and it doesn't do anything. So what's being returned here is a reference, but it's a const reference, and the reason that this must be const is because I'm returning a member of the class, and it is an accessor. It is a const member function, combined image samplers, and it must be const because I'm calling it on window, which is a const pointer, which must be const because it's cast from m-owning window, which is const, and I cannot make that not const. And the reason I cannot make it non-const is because this is a task of which there might be multiple, all for the same window, and they run in different threads. So multiple threads concurrently access my window and they write to it, and things go wrong. Can only allow reading. But hey, I can abuse my thread save const idiom if I make a thread save. So let's leave this const, and then yeah. Then this must be const. This must stay. But I could return a reference if this thing is a thread save, the whole thing. So I can make it thread save by adding a mutex around it. Hi, Pause Bunny. What do you mean second to last favorites? I'm sleeping. I need to come up with an interface such that it is workable and intuitive and easy and fast to add textures to whatever you want. The textures are definitely going to be specific to an element of this array. But now also possibly to a given pipeline. Post Bunny, maybe you can help me. I mean, with something completely different. You're a woman, right? I don't understand women. And I have the following strange event. I don't want to make it a long story, so maybe I'm not giving enough information, but it went something like this. I'm subscribed to next door neighbors app. And I wrote something like, and I'm reading science fiction books while going to sleep. Does anyone have science fiction books for me? You know, I posted that to the neighborhood. Or not everyone is subscribed, but okay. And a woman reacted saying that she would look for science fiction books and she would do her best, and then if she found one, maybe you know, we would meet, of course, so she could give me the book, and that then was kind of an excuse or so, or something like that, to meet. And I was like, well, I want to meet anyway, because like I told you, I don't have any friends. I want more real-life friends. And especially I just want to go to a certain place here in the neighborhood, sit on the terrace and drink coffee. And then maybe, you know, chat about nothing or play a little game, like whatever. So I said, well, do you feel like... do you feel like have a cup of coffee? And she was like, oh yeah, well, you can never have enough friends, right? And she has repeated that often, you can never have enough friends. So that was like stressing that it was just friends, right? She stressed that in many ways. And she was totally okay with the place that I proposed, apparently. Had no problem with that. And we talked about, like, she would, if she liked games and what we would do. And she liked Rummy Cup, so we would play Rummy Cup. She asked for my age, so, and she was started like, are you between 20 and 70? So I said yes. I'm 58, and then she was like, "Oh, it's young. I'm 67, so you probably don't want to go out with me. That would be like going out with your mother. But since I'm not interested in a relationship at all, I just want to sit there and drink coffee and play a game. You know, I mean, as long as she just has her wits and isn't completely stupid, it would be interesting for me." So I said, "Well, don't." It doesn't matter. Age is it's not important. Let's make an appointment. But then first she had to go to France a week, and when she came back, she got a visitor for the week, and so weeks went by, and there was no appointment. So it went, and then I just waited a week, and she didn't send any message back. So I sent a message like, "Well, you know, when are we going to drink coffee? Name a date." And she said, "Yeah, can I call you?" And I said, "Well, that doesn't make any difference. I can always. So just say a date that you can, and that's our appointment." And then anyway, and then she got the visitor for a week. So I didn't hear anything again for a week. So I was like, well, maybe she wants my phone number. You know, she's a bit scared. She had, drempelvrees. I don't know how to say that in English, but apparently she was kind of scared to meet me. But so I thought I give her my phone number, you know, to give some trust. And she called me and she started with, yeah, I'm selling well some kitchen equipment thing to to roast bread, and someone would come and collect that a day. So if he came, she would immediately have to throw up the phone. So just so I knew. So we chatted, and then I at some point I said again, well, let's pick a date. And then she said, well, yeah, but that place where I wanted to drink the coffee, she had a neighbor, another woman, and the woman kind of didn't like her, and she came there, and then they might see us together. And I didn't understand what she meant. So I was like, what do you mean, So, well, eventually she admitted, well, then she would see me with another man, with a man. Sorry, she didn't say another. She said she would see me sitting with a man, and then, people would start talking. And I'm like, so what? What do you care what people think about you or talk about you? If it is wrong, they should ask you, or they're assholes. I didn't say that, but I was like, well, but this is a very good place. They have very good coffee and everything they serve is excellent. So do we really have to go somewhere else? And then she said, oh, the guy for the kitchen equipment is here. I have to hang up. I'll call you back. And then the phone was hung up, or we hang up. And that was 1.5 years ago. 1.5 weeks ago, and she didn't call back. At first I thought, well, the guy at the door, she opens, 5 minutes later he is gone, and she calls me back the same evening, or maybe an hour later, but definitely the same evening. And she didn't, and not the day after that, and not the day after that, and not the whole week, and not for 10 days now. I don't understand this. From everything we talked about, it seemed that she was interested to, how do you say that? Gezellig. To sit at outside somewhere or in a cafe and drink coffee and play games like Rummy Cup or something like that. I don't understand this. And she was like, it's just to be friends, right? Not relationship, on the phone. And I said, yeah, not a relationship, no, just friends. Is it possible that the opposite was true? So that she was really wanting to meet someone who would have a relationship with her, even though she was continuously claiming that it was just friends and no relationship, and then when I confirmed that, she was not interested anymore. Is that possible? Well, she made pretty clear, I think, that she was only interested in getting just friends. If I would have said, well, no, really, I'm looking for a relationship because I'm all alone, blah, 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 I would have thought that then she would have hung up the phone and not let me into her life. So, but I'm really not interested, so... Yeah, well, first of all, we don't live close enough, that's clear, but I am a very cuddly person, so if I like someone, I would like to cuddle as well. But it's very difficult to get me to like you. For example, I had a friend, a woman friend, and she just talked too much. I don't like that. I have the feeling that you are the same, because you talk a lot. Well, in the chat anyway. You know, there's a lot of women just cannot shut up. They just keep talking. I'm not accusing you of that, because I clearly don't know you. Certainly not at all in real life, but I prefer people that have pauses between the sentences, so you can say something as well. And then, of course, intelligent people. I'm not very interested in dumb people either. Well, you're not quiet here. Okay, now you just said my boyfriend is super cuddly too. We hang out and just hug watching, etc. I cannot have... I mean, let Bear be my witness. I thought you were like flirting with me like crazy, which I didn't like. You know, at some point I just thought you don't do that. Now I cannot rhyme that with the fact that you just said that you have a boyfriend, so you have a relationship. Why would you be flirting with old guys on the internet? There is Wanula. Hello. Another friend of me told me that women are impossible to understand. He has a lot of experience with women in his life. Like, he had a lot of girlfriends. So he knows women. And he says you cannot understand them. Maybe that's why I like guys more. At least you can talk with them and understand them and have the same interests. Oh, I'm getting tired again coding. It's so difficult. I mean, coding itself is not difficult, but I cannot think of a good way to design something that is flexible and powerful and easy to use and completely ready for anything I want to do with this in the future. Especially since I do not really have any experience with graphical applications. Diogo Gomes says, hello, can you help me with a program in C? Well, if you post a short program on, say, one box, you know, and use a random, oh, I already have two open. Base sites, one box, yeah, onebox.org. It's for C++, but you can also, you can actually choose the language. You can pick C. I'm also always willing to look at it, but in chat, just using chat, that's not working. That's not working. But you have a little program and it compiles and something doesn't work or does not compile or something like that. I can look at it if it doesn't take longer than a minute. Is it bedtime for you? Here it's 9 p.m. Really bedtime. I think I'm going to take a break. By the way, I did something off stream. I needed 2 monitors at a smaller font to do it. And I rearranged and commented a lot on the this one. So I made this file a bit better readable. I put all the member functions more or less in the order in which they are being used. So that is like, if you look at the member function at the top, then it's likely to be called early. I didn't comment on all of them, I guess, but oh, this is the header file. Yeah, that's less good. I did order them in the end, more or less in the same order as the CXX file. But especially CXX file is now in the correct order with a comment. So this is called from pipeline characteristic initialize, and it's one of the first things that is being called, aka add combined image sampler. So the user says I want to use this combined image sampler and or a uniform buffer, and then only after that you see called from add combined image sampler and add uniform buffer. So the above functions call this private function here, and this again called from the user code preprocess. And then this says that called from preprocess 1, so that function then calls this one. And that function calls this one. And then here we have preprocess 1 calls this function, which then calls this function. See, so it's more or less in the order in which they are being called. And the user also calls this one and this one. Oops, should move this to another directory even, I think. The user calls this, and the user calls this, and the user calls this. And then this is being called from build shader, which you just had above here. So it's a bit better structured. So maybe a beginning of a documentation of it, or at least easier to make it easier to understand. It's a lot of functions. And then finally we get in a function that calls update descriptor set. which then results in that received message. So it's like buried deep. And that's why I'm not really understanding how it works. What I'm seeing now is that it does kind of call it just simply once on each shader resource. That was added to a pipeline characteristic. I have two pipeline factories, therefore my initializer of that characteristic is called twice, and therefore I'm also getting two callbacks. But it's still not really clear what happens if I have a range or anything. And that's the last function, so it's like the bottom output. Yep, Rizwanilla4 asks how much time does it take to make one app? Depends on the app. Between a week and a lifetime. Nah, 9 PM here, man. It's not, or girl, it's not bedtime for me. But I'm going to stop the stream because I'm going to do something else at 9 PM. Maybe I'll be back later this evening, I'm not sure yet. I like this song. So this one, I guess. Normally I'm not a fan of electric guitar at all, or drums. I only like electronic music. Yeah. Started to get sick of all those other songs, though. It was a good song, but if you hear it too often. So I got all these songs. And by now, I have heard them too often. Even though it is quite a lot. I wouldn't mind to have 100 times more of them. That's the correct answer. I seldom finish anything. Typically I work 7 years on a given project and then I switch to another project. Not because it's finished, but by then politics drive me away. Unless of course it's a project that I'm working on alone, then politics cannot drive me away, but those are just projects that I don't count. And they have accumulated and accumulated and accumulated. And I'm still working on it. Maybe 20 years, 20 plus years now. Sometimes I get demotivated because whatever I'm working on for a decade is suddenly written by someone else, or a whole group, someone who make it very popular what they make. And then I'm just alone, so nobody uses my code. Sniff, sniff. So then I kind of stopped working on what I was doing because It feels it doesn't make any sense anymore. So I'm working 10 years on this brilliant Vulkan engine, and by that time a group of 80 programmers suddenly writes a perfect Vulkan engine, and nobody's interested in my engine, and everyone in the world starts to use that other engine. That's about the expectation of this project. And then I stop with it because it got useless. Even for myself, it would be better to use the other engine. So the best thing would be if I wasn't alone. I just had a lot of people working on this, and then we would be the first to finish it, and then the whole world would start to use our engine. But I am alone, and I don't know how other people get coders to work on it. Well, I do. A lot of projects just make something that barely works. Actually, it doesn't even work. It is broken like hell, and they use a lot of PR and advertisement and make people enthusiastic for it, and they write documentation, God all knows. And then people are so enthusiastic they start to use it, but it doesn't work. So they run into bugs and errors and problems, and then annoyed they join the project to fix the bugs that they run into. Most open source projects have a lot of coders because the project was full of bugs, so they joined the project. And I don't get coders like that because my projects are too difficult, so nobody understands them. And when my project is more or less finished, it doesn't have bugs. So why would you join my project? It works. It just works. So either it's not finished and nobody understands how to join it, or why to join it, or it is finished and it doesn't have bugs. So what I should do is make something that looks finished but is full with bugs, and then I get people to join me. I cannot do that. I make it perfect from the beginning, which causes it to take me to take 10 years to write it instead of 2 years. And by that time it's outdated as well. Story of my life. Boys Bunny, go ahead. Learn coding. But then we are 10 years further, and by that time I'm senile and I cannot code myself anymore. But you can take over the legacy at some point. So, like I said, it's not necessarily that I want people to use my Vulkan engine. I did start writing it so I could use it myself. I really intend to finish it far enough that I can use it. I'm just such an idiot or an asshole or a perfectionist. It's almost the same thing in this case. That I put way too much time into perfecting certain things. Making it take so much time in the process that I'll never get to actually using it. It is really kind of stupid. I wish I was a much less of a perfectionist than I. In the end, I would, get more out of it. I think. Out of the effort that I put into stuff. If you make something absolutely perfect, but the result is that you never finish it, then everything is wasted. Yeah. Well, sometimes I fixed, if you have a pretty large project that is already popular, then I want to join it to fix all the problems with it, or just even one problem. I have done that. And then often they don't even use my code. They don't even use my fixes, which is ridiculous. But the reason is because they want to review it, because thousands of people are already using the project, so the maintainer cannot stomach it to just merge thousands of lines of code that I wrote. They want to look at every line of code and understand it. And they don't have time for that. It seldom happens. Seldom. One of the only times that happened is when I contacted the maintainer of the M4 MRI library. Let's look that up, see what it is. They must have a better web page. I'm mentioned in it, see? So he accepted me. So I contacted this William and I said, I think you do this or that wrong and I'm willing to fix it. And he said, okay. And then I wrote extreme changes, like I really put everything upside down, almost literally, and he merged it. And then it was faster. And that was over a time of 2 weeks, I think. And then afterwards I said, I'm amazed, why did you trust me that much? He gave me even access to the repository so I could commit stuff. And he said, yeah, well, I looked at what you had done on the internet. And he was impressed, so he thought I was a good coder. Therefore, he gave me access. But he did not understand what I was doing until I was finished. He said, it was like, yeah, pure trust. And only in the end, when everything came together, he was seeing that I was right. So that's, that's amazing. But this library, M4, is like really used by a lot of people. It's like the main, it's a library for fast arithmetic, dense matrices over the GF2. It's very, very specific library. But say all the universities or research people that are using, doing calculations over GF2, they use this library. So it's really well-established project. But I also fixed major bugs in the window manager, MetaCity. It was completely broken for multiple monitors. So multi-head, how do you call that? Well, I have 3 monitors, different size, one of these different sizes. So I had all the opportunities to make that work and test it. And you know that I'm a perfectionist, so afterwards it was perfect. You could move windows left and right and do anything you want, and it always did the right thing. And it was never merged, never. It's unbelievable. Just lack of time to review it. It's too big. Same thing for, I forgot the bloody name. libcurl. Library that does, I think, HTML socket stuff. It had completely broken support for, how do you call that? I forgot the word. So it comes down to you can use HTML to request files. And then one method is you request a file and you wait until the file has been received, and then you request the next file. Pipelining, that's what it's called. So HTML pipelining. So it had support for it, but it was broken. So I fixed it. Meaning that you can just request multiple files at the same time and don't have to wait until they are received. And that was also never never merged in. Worse, he came to the realization that it didn't work and he removed it completely from the library. That's sad. I fix it. And it doesn't merge me and it removes the whole feature. Why? Why not just merge my fixes? Yeah, I'm using Linux. Yeah, Poise Bunny, it is special that you're watching my streams for that many hours. And I've said before that if you want to pick up something from me, then you probably need to watch it for that many hours, because it's if you watch me working for that many hours, then you should start pick up things, I guess. The way of thinking, the way of working. But that still cannot happen unless you already know C++ a little bit. It seems extremely hard to pick up anything when you cannot even code in C++ at all. You're not going to learn C++ from watching someone code an advanced project, I think. Yeah, Arch, you already answered it. What is recommended to me is, especially advertisement and stuff, is so bad and so off that I have, I don't think those algorithms are working at all. So we have so-called artificial intelligence. Well, they fail. Incredibly, they fail. People want you to believe that every personal bit of information that you put on the internet is being used, but it's not. Come on, they're just interested in money. People are interested in money. That means that they want to show as many advertisements as possible because they're being paid per advertisement. For example, I get an advertisement for a certain game. I click it away. I get the same advertisement immediately afterwards. Again, I click it again. I click it away. They do this for several weeks. After 2 or 3 weeks, I install it. They keep going. I get the same advertisement for the game that I have already watched 50 times and installed. And they're still sending it to me. Do you really think that the advertiser wants to pay to show me that advertisement of a game that I already saw 50 times and have installed? No, they don't. So why is this not working? Why are the algorithms not detecting that I already installed the game and stuff like that? Because absolutely nobody is interested in detecting that. They just want to make money with advertisements. Advertisers are only offered a very simple interface. Hey, trust us. We will send your advertisements only to people who are the target. So we'll send it to 100,000 people instead of 10 million, but those 100,000 will be interested. And therefore it will be more efficient to pay us. and do your advertisement through us. Blah, 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 blah. Nice speech. Advertiser falls into the trap, pays them, and that's it. And they're not interested to send it to the right 100,000 and to filter me out after I already saw it 10 times or 100 times or installed it or not. Nobody's interested in making those algorithms work. You get Illuminati cryptographic ads with secret messages in it. I never got those. Well, it's, yeah, you can also not advertise. But some people rather advertise to the wrong people and they just throw money at it because not advertising is even worse. At least they do still make money. But it could be a lot better, a lot better. If I see what kind of advertisements I get, it's pure, it's absolutely not filtered. It's really bad. I would be so mad if I was an advertiser, I mean, and had to pay for the advertisements that they show to me. They're doing it all wrong. I'm gonna click this stop streaming button and I'll see you later or tomorrow. Good night. Maybe we should set up a voice channel on Discord. Now you can talk back instead of typing. Because they make money. People want data centers. They pay for it. What humanity badly needs is nuclear fusion reactors to be commercial, what is the word? Viable? Working. We need an unlimited amount of energy. Humanity. Clean energy. Now we're heading for a declining population. It's like currently a major issue in China, although it's there, of course, a part of, I would say partly, but mostly or only the result of the policy they had, the one-child policy. But yeah, it's the future of humanity. So in the end, we'll have it. Even if we just have to stop growing, you know, all the bloody economy is even dependent on a growing, ever-growing economics. I think that's why they went off the gold standard in 1970. Was it 1971? Because everything had to grow and grow and grow. So if you say, look at the stock market. Stock market has been growing for 9% on average every year. That's exponential. That's impossible. But everything depended on that. So at some point, I mean, if stocks grow exponentially in worth, that's impossible. Why is it impossible? Because let's say there is in total trillion of gold. Okay, and when the gold standard was there was no more gold. That was all the value that was in the world. So when we reached that point, it was not possible anymore to make stocks grow because there was not enough gold. So they said, well, we go with the gold standard and then we just make money out of nowhere. But that's not possible, of course. I mean, you could do that, but then if you double the amount of dollars in circulation, then each dollar is just worth half of what it was worth before. So they used a different trick. But it comes down to the same, but the trick is then that they make debt. So someone is loaning money and then the debt is piling up. So the economy kept growing and the amount of dollars now is growing way beyond the amount of gold that exists. And it is balanced by the fact that there is also debt and the debt is also growing. So there's still $1 trillion, but by now we are at 2 or 3 trillion and we have 2 trillion debt. But the problem is that this debt is now many times larger than the total amount of money that exists in the world. So it's all hot air. It's incredible what they're doing. It's based on that we need an ever-growing. Well, and when the population stops, so if the population grows and grows and grows, then okay, at least then the economy is really growing. Like more factories, more workers, more productivity, right? But I think that for years now, the productivity is going down. People don't like work as hard as they used to. People do all kinds of things that are not really productive, like play computer games or waste time with reading email and play with their phones and social media. So, many hours are wasted that are absolutely not productive in any way. Not even talking about administration and governments and etc. etc. In the end, the only thing that really produces something is when a guy works in a factory. But if those factories have to produce more and more, they want to, productivity must go up and up and up, 10% per year, say. That at a certain time they said, well, we can increase the productivity of a factory without a growing population by automating it. So computers and robots have been used to increase the productivity of factories without increasing the number of factories and the number of people working there. But that only worked for a while. Because at some point, the energy is going to be the problem. So robots use energy. So if you let the productivity, aka the number of robots, grow with 10% every year, then at some point you get to a point where it's not profitable at all anymore. It's just using way too much energy and producing exponentially more carbon dioxide, of course. So yeah, big problems ahead. Now if you get fusion energy, which is 100% clean, then we have basically infinite amount of energy. Well, not infinite, because then you also heat up the whole Earth. But at least then we can grow another 100 or 200 years with fast computers and say 100 robots per human. That would probably be possible if we had fusion energy. And then, at some point humanity has to learn to live with an economy that doesn't grow. That would be the best thing. But we're not there yet. I was going to click on this stop button. Stop.